Hello, Martin here with your property top tips. And today I'm going to be looking at the top 10 ways to add £10,000 to the value of your property. Yes, £10,000. How easy can it be? Really easy, as it happens. So make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe to the channel and tell your friends if you think this is really useful. Which it might be. 10,000 quid. Honestly, yes, really. So what are the top tips for adding £10,000 to the cost of your home? Number one, instant appeal. So you've got to make sure that when that person walks through the door, in the 45 seconds, oh yes, that it takes for them to make a decision, they are going to fall in love with your house. Use all the tricks in the book, from the smells of fresh bread to coffee brewing. And I'm not just talking about when you're selling your house here, although, you know, we're talking about making that impression when people walk through the front door. So everything has got to be right. Try and take a step back from your property and look at it with new eyes. When you walk in through the gate, are there weeds in the path? When you walk into the house, are there any signs of mould? Does it smell fusty and stuff like that? That instant appeal, believe it or not, is going to make all the difference. What are you going to do to make your house instantly appealable in 45 seconds? Coats of paint, air fresheners, whatever it might take, do it. Number two, drop the curb. A lot of houses have no parking, but a small front garden that could quite conceivably be turned into a very useful parking space. But in order to get there, you've got to get across the curb. Now, you could just bounce up and down every time, but that isn't really a professional looking job. So you want to be talking about dropping the curb. Now, you can't just go ahead and do that. This is something that requires planning permission, and it requires a contractor who is recognised by the council. They will come along and they will mess around with the pavement and they will put in a dropped curb for you, as long as you do get that planning permission. It's going to cost you £2,000 or so, but it will add a significant amount of money to your property. So definitely something that's worth considering. Number three, kitchen kudos. Do the kitchen. I say it time and time again. Kitchens and bathrooms add value to a property, and unless you go completely bonkers and put in something totally and utterly overly expensive and unsuitable for the property you're renovating, you will generally always get back more than it costs you to put a kitchen in. Now, we're not talking about some granite filled, perfectly honed, bespoke kitchen necessarily, although if the property fits it, then maybe that's something that's worth going for. But a good quality ready-made kitchen designed by the likes of one of the big boys, the IKEAs, the Magnets, the Howdens, the Wrens, or whoever else is that is going to do it, the Wickses, B&Qs, something like that, putting it into your kitchen, making sure that you fit electrics that are suitable for, well, you don't do it, you get an electrician to do it, but electrics that are going to provide all the sockets you might need. Think about the lighting. You can do a lot without spending a lot of money on the units. And also the flooring. Nice quality flooring, nice quality work surfaces, good lighting, and you're going to end up with something that's a wow factor, and that's what we're after. Number four, get ballsy with your bathroom. Do what you can to update that bathroom. When people walk into your property and they see a bathroom that's old-fashioned and dated, it is going to give them completely the wrong idea for the house. So spend some time and money doing the bathroom up, making sure that you stick with what most people would want, which is white units, white sanitary ware, and a nice shower in a nice, maybe P-shaped bath, so they got the options of a bath and a shower. You might also consider installing a second bathroom. Most households these days would say that's a very useful thing to have. So install a second bathroom. You will get your money back for money you spend on your bathroom, as long as you don't go completely mad. Yes, do not put any gold taps and strange ornamental water features in your bathroom. You won't get those liked by the majority of people. Number five is get jiggy with it. Ah yes, we're not talking about dancing around the kitchen at a party. We're talking about jiggling the layout, and it's actually quite simple to think about reutilising space that you've already got, maybe a big landing or an oversized room, and rejiggling the layout to either create more living space or perhaps even another bedroom. Doing that kind of work is not going to be that complicated. It might involve stud partitions, which you may have to get in builds to help you with, but just jiggling the existing layout that you've got rather than just chucking the towel in and starting again is something you need to consider. So number 6 on the list of ways to add 10 grand to the value of your property, and that is, it amazes me the number of people who actually have properties with beautiful features that they just don't make the most of. It could be woodwork that's hidden under layers of paint. It could be beautiful pine doors that are hidden under, again, layers and layers of varnish or paint. It could be stairs that could be stripped back to reveal the beauty of the wood underneath. It could be cornicing. It could be interesting features behind windows. It could be fireplaces that you could open up. You might be amazed at the amount of things that are in your house already that won't cost you anything other than time and a bit of effort to actually enhance the value and livability of your house. They might be there right underneath your nose. Number 7 on the list, open up. Now, you'll hear me all the time talking on Homes Under the Hammer about knocking down walls and creating open plan spaces. That's because that's what people want these days. They want open plan living areas that they can stretch out with their family in. So you could have an absolutely tiny little terraced house, but if you open up the ground floor and make it all open plan, then that will feel like a really big room and the whole house will feel much bigger as a result of it. So I know it is of the moment knocking down walls and opening up, but I think it's a moment that will last. And in general, doing that is something that's going to really add value to your property. It's going to require a bit of effort, and whatever you do when you're doing it, make sure that you're not knocking down supporting walls, otherwise it'll be a very, very expensive bit of house renovation. So if you're unsure, make sure you get a builder in to check out those walls and make sure that they're nothing that's actually vital to the fabric of the building. Here's an interesting one for number 8. Put in plans. Now, you'll know that if you have certain works that are required, you will need planning permission to do those works. Maybe a loft extension in certain circumstances, a double-storey extension, maybe some kind of an annex in the garden. Stuff that can't be done just under permitted development. Well, if you just do the plans, get those plans approved, you'll be surprised. Just having those plans without actually implementing the work can add a lot of value to your property. So you might spend £2,000 or £3,000 getting plans for a loft extension or a 2-storey extension out the back, and then not actually spend the money doing that, but sell the property or just value the property with those plans in place. And those £2,000 worth of expenditure on those plans will probably have added a significant chunk to the value of your property. Nearly there with our top 10 list with number 9, which is get rid of the garage. Now, hang on a minute. I'm not talking about completely destroying that building. I'm talking about repurposing it. One of the things which people really, really want now is more space, maybe for a home office, maybe for another bedroom, maybe for just a space that you can get away from the family and have a bit of quiet time. Extra space is really important. So think about converting that garage, which is probably full of clutter and rubbish and old bicycles and furniture and Christmas presents you don't want. Think about getting rid of that space and converting it into a habitable space. It's not going to cost that much money. You need to insulate the walls. You need to make sure there's adequate lighting and ventilation and good electrics so that you have got places to plug in things. You then need to decorate it, having insulated it as much as you possibly can, and think carefully about the design. And you'd be amazed, that garage which is currently sitting there full of all that rubbish could easily turn into a really nice living space, which will definitely add value to the cost of your property, or rather the value of your property. And finally, in our top 10 ways to add 10 grand to the value of your house, go up or go down. We're talking about checking out if it might be possible to do work in the cellar to create a room down there, or alternatively going up to the top of the house and actually doing some kind of a loft conversion. Both of those things, either going down or going up, will add much important and much desired space to your property. So you could have a small house, maybe with 2 or 3 usable living rooms. If you add another 2, you're almost doubling your livable space. Forget about the bedrooms. So this is really something you need to consider. A lot of cellars will require work to make them damp-free inhabitable spaces, but there are teams of people out there who can do that for you. And a lot of cellars actually don't need a lot of work to make them habitable. Likewise, lofts, some are going to be more complicated than others, but a good architect and a good builder will come up with a plan that suits your property. So go up or go down. So those are our top 10 lists. Let's just go through them one by one again. Look at all those things there. All those things you can do, easy peasy, to add 10 grand to the value of your property. It's not rocket science. If you've enjoyed this, make sure you like this video. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back with more property top 10 tips very soon.